share this on social
Oh,
media?
hello, everybody. This is Crypto Trader News, and we are with the editorial team of Tony, Matt, and myself. I'm Meredith, and I don't know why Tony's laughing.
I should have probably given you,
Yeah,
more
oh yeah.
more room.
He says, Meredith, do the intro, and we're live.
Yeah, like 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, Meredith, you're doing it.
That's actually exactly what happened. Anyways, so we are officially live, and we've got a crypto market that's pretty much extremely crazy right now. It looks like Bitcoin is trying to stay around the $7,000 mark. I woke up this morning with Bitcoin under 7,000 actually, and it's sitting at exactly $7,297 as of this exact moment. Are you guys bullish, bearish? Are we, is it going to go down? Is it going to go up? Are we looking towards going up after we go down a little bit first? What's going to happen?
Well, I thought we were at the end of the bottom 2 weeks ago, which is why we launched the CTN Wallet Watch. And so I'm still on the opinion that it is going to head back up. I just think we called it a little too early. The stock market rebounded. We've had some record days with the stock market. There's so much unknowns right now. Meredith and I talked about it the other day about China coming out and saying they're not going to do anything with crypto. And what was it you mentioned, Tony, that India has now come out? And then, like we were discussing, then you have us, and we're not doing anything other than a little here and there with the SEC and regulations, fines, hacks, all negative stuff in the news. And so while we've got some positives going on around the world, and we've got positives going on with XRP and with Ether and with Decred and all these great little altcoins, we're not getting that positive traction that I thought we would be hitting by now.
I think
you lost me. You lost me money, man. We should have just waited for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and we would have found ourselves with a bearish market.
Now,
Anyways.
Here's the thing. I think mainstream media is actually the root of all evil. I really do. I think that they have such a big voice out there, and if they don't like something, they're not going to promote the good that crypto and blockchain can bring. So if you think about it, who owns the mainstream media? Are they in Bitcoin or crypto? I don't think so. So why would they go against something that they're investing in? That's how I feel about it.
I actually want to ask you guys something.
Yep.
Why does Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency? The trend is if Bitcoin goes down, the whole market is going down, and when Bitcoin is soaring, the whole market is soaring. Now, why does crypto actually go down? Like, what's the reason? If we're in quiet times, why do we suddenly wake up to Bitcoin dropping in value if nothing really happened? It's not like some new technology or some new cryptocurrency came out. The price of Bitcoin just drops and rises out of the blue for no apparent reason. So why do you guys think the price of crypto actually drops? I think that's the first underlying question. If nothing happens, Meredith, actually, you're kind of arguing that it's actually because of mainstream media. These guys are,
I think that's a contributing factor. Yeah.
Okay.
But one other thing I would say about that is it's not just mainstream media, but when you have investors who are really into the stocks and commodities and things like that, your traditional markets, and they're kind of playing with the crypto market, but they have the funds that they can do that. Where I think in the crypto markets, you have this, it's kind of bastardized with those people, with those investors. We're not true crypto enthusiasts, I think. So when the stock market is going up, they're like, hey, I have to have my money there, and crypto is kind of like I don't know, call it the dingleberry if you want to, it's, they're like, it's kind of a play thing, it's just something fun to do right now. Who knows?
That actually makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, the other trend that I'm seeing is that when Bitcoin or crypto goes down, stocks go up. And if stocks go down, crypto goes up.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually quite interesting. I think stocks for the past probably like 8 to 10 years have just been going up. And, they're going to keep going up. It doesn't matter what happens. I think that until we actually hit a recession or a big depression, they're going to keep soaring. I mean, the economy is not bad right now. So, but yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that that's a real trend. Every single time crypto goes down, stocks go up, and vice versa.
Now, Matt, do you have a theory?
Yeah.
Well, one thing that kind of worries me is the whole thing that altcoins mirror Bitcoin. Because one thing that we have discussed a lot about is the fact that a lot of the big mining and conglomerates control Bitcoin at this point. You have to have a big setup to be able to mine Bitcoin to make any kind of money. And when you have that much control over that economy, over Bitcoin, when they buy, the price goes down, and when they're selling, the price is going up. They have the ability to manipulate the market, especially if there are more than one company working together. And if they're doing that to manipulate the price of Bitcoin, making it go down when they're wanting to buy, making it go up when they're holding, then they're also inherently affecting the rest of the market. And that's why I think it's important for these altcoins that actually not hold a value, but provide a service they feel a need is so important, because we don't need just another altcoin that's going to be reflected off of what Bitcoin's doing. We need things that are going to build their own economy and have their own inherent value, because if we're constantly having Ether and XRP shadow Bitcoin, we're never going to get out of its shadow, and we're always going to be subject to those big mining companies.
So I understand what you're saying. Now, being realistic, I mean, Bitcoin is the brand of crypto. If Bitcoin suddenly disappears tomorrow, I mean, I don't even know what the reaction would be for all of these altcoins. I mean, Bitcoin truly is, even if, I mean, come on, there's many other cryptocurrencies that are better than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. It's the brand. It's like, it's like gold and silver. Silver is probably more useful than gold, but gold is, it's shiny. We're used to it. I mean, we like gold. We like shiny things. And I think Bitcoin kind of like, is the gold version of crypto. I understand what you're saying. I think that it's kind of hard, or I just don't see the way in which you could possibly have altcoins not shadow Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is just, it's like, it's both the mother and father of all of these other altcoins, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's like, Bitcoin is the brand name, and the rest are kind of the store brands, if you will. Because when people, even the layperson hears cryptocurrency, the first thing they think of is Bitcoin. And that's why everything else is called an altcoin, it's because it's not Bitcoin. And so, yeah, if Bitcoin was to disappear tomorrow, I think it would play hell on the entire industry, because those that were kind of dipping a toe in the water are going to be totally just not I can't even think of the word I'm trying to think. They're not going to have any faith in the whole system if the grandfather disappeared. But the thing is that the average.
I just don't think that's realistic, though. I don't think Bitcoin's going away.
No, I don't either. I don't think Bitcoin's ever going anywhere.
Well. It's not going away when? Like tomorrow or in the next decade?
In the next decade, or in the next 20 to 50 years. I really don't think Bitcoin is going away.
Can you see Bitcoin not going away but dropping in value by 80%? So say that Bitcoin's worth, $500. But it's still here. I mean, so here's the thing. I think that with time, Bitcoin's price is not going to be as volatile, but I just don't know just like gold has had many bubbles as well, but the price, with time has very much stabilized. Now, will Bitcoin achieve stability increasing its value, or is it going to correct itself to a lower value, or what's going to happen there?
It's anybody's guess on that, because it could go either way. You could see it to where it is like the ultimate collectible. It's ultra rare. It's like a Ming vase and a Fabergé egg all rolled into one, and people get them and they hold on to them forever because it is Bitcoin, and it maintains some value, gains value a little bit over time, or it not flattens out, but it drops considerably to where, and then it becomes almost basically a stable coin to where it is usable for international money transfers and that kind of thing, but it's no longer an investment. It's just an actual alternative currency. It could go anywhere.
Okay, I'm gonna read a few stats to you guys and let me know what you think. Okay, if you bought $10 worth of Bitcoin each week for the last year, you would be up 49% right now. One more. If you bought $10 worth of Bitcoin each week for the last 2 years, you would have been 27% up. And if you had bought $10 worth of Bitcoin each week for the last 3 years, you would be up by 156%. Now, so I mean, taking these into account, if we look at the past history of Bitcoin, of its price, and we know that the ROI, unless you had the misfortune of buying at 19K, which if you did, I'm sorry, you're probably still sad, but yeah, but I mean.
Did any of you
knowing
guys buy at 19? Really?
Oh no! Hell no!
No,
that was
exactly.
I mean, you could clearly see that it was. I mean, Bitcoin's price was just soaring. It was clearly something weird. I mean, it was so weird. I mean, you could see. I mean, I can see Bitcoin being worth $100,000, but I can see it grow into 100K in just one day. That's like, okay, that's sketchy. That's something weird. That would be very strange. I would be, probably selling at that point. But I don't know. I'm trying to take into account the fact that considering that the price of Bitcoin has grown over time, does it make sense to fear the fact that it's dropping right now or not?
No. I've been saying it all along.
No, he's just...
No, we may drop to 6. I don't really think it'll hit 6, but it might. I don't think it'll go below.
We dropped to 3.4 early this year or something.
Right. And so, it could hit 6 again, and maybe even a little lower, but it may take till after the first of the year for the bounce to happen. I called it way too early, I guess, but it is what it is. But no, there's no way that this is the time to sell. It's the time to hold. And actually, if you have the funds, I mean, of course, do your own homework, ladies and gentlemen. Don't listen to me, but I still think it's the time to buy.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my analysis. And by the way, we gotta say hello to Simon. He's Hey ho, live long and prosper. Hey Simon,
Oh,
how are
hey,
you, mate?
Thanks for joining us.
So here's my understanding of how this works. Or let's just let me rephrase that. Here's the way in which I see Bitcoin disappearing or losing its value. 3 possible scenarios. Number 1, some other cryptocurrency that is just outstandingly better than Bitcoin comes out. And I'm talking about amazing transaction speed. Amazing transaction speed. Low fees. But it has to be more than that. It has to be something really new. I mean, if you want to compete against the $1 billion brand that Bitcoin represents today, you gotta bring something very new to the table. So that's use case number 1. Something really better than Bitcoin comes out. Which there's already better altcoins than Bitcoin today, but they can't compete against the brand. Number 2, some new technology comes out that's better than blockchain. If something better than blockchains comes out and we stop using blockchains, then okay, I can see how we would stop using Bitcoin, or we would just stop using crypto in general. Now, I can't wrap my head around some possible technology that would be better than blockchain. Maybe in 20 years something comes out. I mean, who knows? Or number 3, somehow governments start banning crypto to the point where they make it really, 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 really hard to not only buy or sell, but just hold in general. If it gets to that point where people can't, or it's very hard for people, regular people like, you guys and I, that, we're not into black market kinds of things. I can see how Bitcoin could lose its value. But that would be, number 1, it would be anti-American for sure. It would be anti, freedom in general. I don't think that's ever going to happen, at least not in Western countries. So those are my 3 possible scenarios. And none of those scenarios apply today. I mean, no crypto can compete today against Bitcoin. No new technology has emerged. And I don't think there's any Western country right now trying to ban Bitcoin. If anything, they're trying to implement blockchains into their own systems. Since none of these apply, there's no reason for me to actually believe that the price of Bitcoin is going to keep crashing. Because if people were paying 10K for 1 Bitcoin 2 weeks ago, why are they going to just suddenly start selling at a lower price? I mean, it doesn't really make much sense to me. I mean, nothing really happened for me to actually see the price of Bitcoin, go down. We're not in war. Nothing happened. We're still the same. I think there's more of a, kind of like what Meredith said, maybe there's too many traders in this space. And particularly, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, there are some big ass whales in this Bitcoin space. I mean, I can see how these big fishes just start selling every selling slowly but at a time, and try to benefit from people who actually want to get in. And that's fine with me. That means that more Bitcoin gets decentralized, and it gets distributed amongst more people. But yeah, that's just my take on why I think we're still good. We're still okay. In fact, I'm still bullish. I still think this Christmas is going to be a good Christmas, but so far I'm not winning that argument. We'll see. Thoughts, comments?
You want to go first?
No, I think you brought up some really good points there. And, you said something about, the next thing coming along, better than blockchain or a better coin. And I think that's exactly right. Dennis is one that's always advocating, what problems is this coin going to solve? We saw he's not here to pop up his book, but he's exactly right. We don't need more and more altcoins coming on. I don't care that ICOs are gone the way of the dodo, and we've got new ways of doing this that are safer. I don't care. If your coin brings value to me or to my family or to the lawyer down the street, That is what we need. We don't need just another coin that's built off of Ether or built off of XRP and that just mirrors every single thing that came out because you want your own coin. We've got to solve real world problems. And as we do that, I truly do think that we will see altcoins that start breaking away from Bitcoin's shadow, that they will start having their own price rises and highs and lows, not necessarily based off of what Bitcoin is doing, but based off of what the coin itself is doing, what value it's bringing to market.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And for me, when I look at Bitcoin, and you pointed it out, the history of it. If you had invested, $10 a week for the last last year, 2 and 3 years, you're still making profit. And that's what I'm seeing when you look at the whole history of Bitcoin and you see those, I've mentioned it before with the plateaus, where I think we're currently at a plateau that's going to hover between 6,000 and 7,000 before it shoots up again and hits the next plateau. And I think that next plateau will probably be about 10. And maybe that won't be by the end of the year. Maybe that'll be sometime next, Christmas next year, who knows? But I think that plateau, that new plateau that we shot up to, is going to be the next low for the next one that comes along. And I think that's because Bitcoin is going to be halving. It's finite. So, once it's all mined, it's all out there. Take into consideration how much has been lost in a decade. And it has that intrinsic value. And then you mentioned it also with the branding. People who are coming into cryptocurrency right now, they think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are synonymous, and they're not. So Bitcoin has that advantage of having that branding, of being like the Kleenex of tissue or the Kodak of photography. You know what I mean? It's like when we say Kodak moment, that's the photograph. That's the photograph, right? But Kodak almost sunk itself because they didn't look ahead, and they actually developed the digital camera, and then they didn't.
Is Kodak even still around?
They're coming back. They are starting to come back.
What's making a big comeback is Polaroid. The camera, the Polaroid.
Oh yeah. Those are everywhere.
Yeah.
Those are actually useful.
With Bitcoin, you have that branding advantage because they were the first one out of the gate, and it's easy off the tongue. Bitcoin,
I still don't see many projects that actually launch crypto for something different that Bitcoin already brings to the table. I mean, most of these are transaction speed, transactions per second. And the cost of actually sending the crypto, or something like that. But it looks like many of these projects that actually do try to use their own token for something different are not being very successful, or are not being very popular. And the one that actually really surprises me, and the one that actually this is actually a great example. I mean, Ethereum was supposed to be. Ethereum is silver. I mean, it's digital silver. I mean, you can build, or you can use it for so many different things. So many projects are built on Ethereum. And yet it is probably my biggest disappointment of the year. I mean, thing keeps crashing. Bitcoin might come up and Ethereum might still go down. I mean, it is crazy. They're not really, I don't know. We'll see how Ethereum ends up. I was going to say there's many crypto projects running on Ethereum. So it's always going to be there. It's not like it's going to go away. If it does, the whole crypto space is going to suffer a lot, but we'll see.
Here's what I'm thinking. Okay. You have a lot of these companies that are coming out with cryptocurrency, and they're recreating the wheel. They're just, they're basically taking somebody's blockchain and putting a nice storefront on it, if you will, right? So does it really have value? Is it actually taking us into the future? Is it actually providing a service, or is it just a vanity coin? You know, and I think when we dig deep enough to see which one actually gives us value and takes us to the future and really changes how things function, or is it like, I mean, I would buy Walmart coin because I shop at Walmart, you know, and I want the points or whatever discount
that's going to happen.
So
that's going to happen.
I think there's got to be, when we're educating ourselves, we have to really make a distinction between what's a service provider as far as a token and a good investment for our money, and another one that's maybe a vanity token that kind of gives me the coupons, you know, for shopping there.
Well, and you brought up a good point a minute ago, Tony, with Ethereum, because here a minute ago I was talking about, you know, they've got to bring value to market and in order to break away from Bitcoin, but Ether is the how do you say it, anathema of that, because it has its own inherent value. And 2 years ago, you could have never, I would have never believed you if you told me that Bitcoin would be, or that Ethereum would be, you know, at the $200 mark right now. I would have never believed, with Bitcoin being at 7,000. I just never would have thought it. I thought that Ethereum was going to bring a lot to the table and had a lot to offer. It does. But I would have thought that it would have been so much closer to the Bitcoin's price. And so you kind of made me rethink my thinking a minute ago with that, because I mean, I've worked with Dennis for a while now, and, you know, all of us were happy to get Ethereum a few years ago from clients. We're like, heck yeah.
The whole thing. I think that the whole ICO bubble really, really, really hurt Ether. I mean, it was just, I don't know. The whole thing really hurt Ether, in my opinion. I mean, it's too many scammy projects running on Ether, too many scammers just, yeah.
Good point. Good point.
We'll see.
I'll be right back.
I mean, I think that if good projects do try to, you know, if solid projects that run on Ether actually come out, and there are some, then, you know, it might pick up again, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. In fact, I was actually going to ask you guys one last thing before wrapping it up. You ever used a Bitcoin ATM?
I have not.
Any of you guys?
What is it?
Have you ever used a Bitcoin ATM?
No. I haven't seen one locally.
You've never, have you actually seen one, Matt, around you?
No, I haven't. You know, I live outside of Austin, and it seems like when I did an article on Bitcoin ATM not too long ago, that there were some in the Austin area. I know a lot was centered on the West Coast. Chicago had a crap load of them. But now that you mention it, no, I don't recall coming in contact with one in real life.
So I had a not crypto-friendly friend ask me today, so, okay, you know, I can buy Bitcoin, you know, with my debit card, credit card, but how do I sell it if I don't want to, you know, sell it through a bank? And, you know, the only way you can actually sell it without going through a bank is through a Bitcoin ATM. Now, I'm not actually sure if you're required to do some sort of like KYC process before cashing it out. I don't think so, but I'm not 100% positive. And I do know that they do charge like a ridiculous fee for cashing out through a Bitcoin ATM. You know, just a fun fact. I mean, it's kind of funny that if you really want to cash out Bitcoin, you gotta go through a bank, and that's kind of
or
like,
a trusted friend.
Or what?
A trusted friend.
Yeah.
Or just go through a friend that believes in Bitcoin more than you do, or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. If you guys have anything else to add, or we can just.
Well, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving in the U.S.
Yes.
Yes, that's tomorrow. So enjoy your turkey.
Enjoy your turkey and your stuffing.
Travel safe.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.